So we played against Schoen, again in New York Open in '87. He was a very well prepared.
German
Um,
player.
I think he was German player, yes, but he was a very good one, very dangerous tactically. And we played the so-called Meran variation from Slav defense. It was very popular in that time. Later on, it was played by Kasparov and uh, many English players and, the highest level like this, Portish and so on. And it's dangerous for both. It seems that white is a little bit better all the time, but in reality, tactically, it's very, very important duel like this. It's not clear who is better in any kind of position. Very complicated ones and very, very big analysis. Even now, I think is analyzed until move 30 or 35 or something like this
The
in
opening.
some variations in the opening. Yeah, terrible. So after bishop dc, took him c4, b5, bishop d3. Everything is theory until now. Yeah, and now a6, e4, c5, and then here the modern move was e5, also very complicated. But I played the normal old move like this, d5. D5 is also very good, but also very complicated. Starting from here again, home analysis all the time. Theory also. Now c4. Now I took in e6. Now the alternative was c takes d3, e takes d7, and so on. And white is a little bit better. It seems
So here, if it takes,
he could take in d3. The
yeah.
alternate, well, very complicated. White is a little bit better. Takes in d7 check and castle and so on. You play against the isolated pawns from d3. Black has some counterplay because of the two bishops, but in reality, white is a little bit better. So he preferred to play the normal variation with f takes e6. Okay, bishop c2, bishop b7, castle, queen c7, queen e2, bishop d6. I told you, everything theory until now, you see. And here, knight g5. Okay, if he takes in h2 is check, after king h1 is better for white because white is threatening knight takes e6 and f4, In all of these variations are clearly better for white because the bishop from h2 is almost lost, It's a little bit too far like this,
Yeah.
So it's not good. Pardon, it's not good to take in h2, of course. So after bishop d6, knight g5, again he played well, knight c5. I played f4, and he played e5. Everything until now, home analysis, theory, everything well prepared
By both
by
of.
both,
Yes.
And now everybody was curious to see who has, something new. Okay, e5, and after, again, theory until now, a4. Okay, a4, the best move, b4, of course, and knight d5. Okay, now after knight d5, again, he has to take in d5. No? He takes, and castle.
But is not winning a pawn here, or it's too
No, no,
dangerous?
what winning? Where? In c4, you mean?
Yeah, in here. It's
No, no,
protected.
no. He can't take. If he takes with the bishop in d5, after f takes e5 is almost here black can resign. In
Because
a few
the
moves
the king here.
because the king is bad and you're threatening also the pawn from h7 and the check in h5. If you have time to give check in h5, he can resign.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has to be very careful. No, castle is okay, the best move. Okay, it's almost unbelievable, but all this until now theory. By this level, in that time,
Yeah.
without computer, everything
Yes.
was theory. So now we have the new move. I mean, home analysis, knight f7. No, queen takes c4, of course, queen takes h6. And in this position, the theory recommended here knight h3. After knight h3,
Yes.
black is a little bit better, So knight f7, new move, novelty, but excellent move. So
So
now again everything is forced. He has to take. F takes e5, queen takes d5. So white has to take in d5, of course. Black has to take. Takes in d6, rook takes d6, and bishop e3. Well, until now, home analysis from myself, you see. So he has to decide here what to do. He was a little bit worried because it was a little bit new for him. He was sure that the variation is more or less okay for black, you know. Theory said that black has no problem, you see. Now black has to choose between three moves here. The normal move played by himself in our game, knight d7, which is a small mistake. Here it is better to play knight e6 or rook c6. Maybe he can keep the balance, you know, maybe. White is clearly better, but maybe black can save the position. But after knight d7, the game will be very instructive because white's edge is almost decisive in every position. So knight d7 he played, no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. After knight d7, rook fd1. What can he play? It's brutal. The position is very unpleasant suddenly because the threat is bishop f4, which can win immediately. Bishop f4 and bishop f5, both, you know.
Yeah.
So what to do? Now, again, time trouble, and it's very unpleasant. Rook e8, bishop f4, and, you know, last hope, rook c6. And after rook c6, of course, if you take in d5, it's not enough. But now comes the second surprise, bishop f5.
Another P.
Yeah, pinned and most unpleasant. Two bishops, terrible two bishops, you know.
Yeah.
So what to do? The only move, bishop e6. Otherwise, he can resign if he doesn't play bishop e6. And now the last surprise, you know, rook c1. After rook c1, he's lost in every position.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, everything is forced.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to take in c1, no? I took with check, and now he played king d8, the only move. Because if he played king b7, he was losing immediately after rook c7 check. He loses at least a piece.
Yeah.
At least, no? So the last hope, king d8. And now bishop d3. Now we look at the position. We want to take the pawn from a6.
Yes.
And if he wants to play a5, we have time to give check in c7. We win the pawn anyway. We win the second pawn from b4 with check, and the attack continues, you know. So, okay, we have this position, and the rest of the game is a very good example how to realize the big advantage. The things are clear. White is winning in any position here. So,
But how to make sure?
well, you have to realize. So he played bishop b3. We took the pawn in a6, and he played bishop rook e4 because it was the only move. For instance, he took the pawn in a4, after bishop c7 check, he's lost by force in a few moves. We can look a little bit. The rook is in here. Okay, we took there, and now he could take the pawn in a4.
Yes.
And after bishop c7 check, is forced to win. What was it? Yeah, and now rook e1 check. King f7, yeah, bishop c4 check.
Ah, okay.
And king f8, bishop d7 mate, no? Almost mate.
Yeah.
So everything was forced. If he loses the pawn from a6 for nothing, the endgame is hopeless, of course, you know, then the pawn comes, you know. So until now, everything was forced. We had completely winning position after the home analysis, and now we can realize quietly the advantage, the big advantage, you know. Okay, rook e4, check, king e7, and now, okay, we move the pawn. Well, the position is hopeless. You have only to be a little bit, you know, cautious and realize very well the advantage. But the position is very clear. So bishop d5.
So the idea is to push the pawn?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, very quickly. And you have still very tactical game, you know, with two bishops in every position, you know.
Yeah.
So bishop before knight f6. Well, a6. Well, he could resign, of course, but we continue to play because of the time trouble, you know. So a6, rook d4, a7. So now knight e4. I played h3 to be sure for any position that we have time to go with the king somewhere. There's no tactical
No trap.
threat.
Okay.
h3, yeah. So he played h5, and now in this position I played king h2, and what did he play? b3. Okay, he could resign, as I told you, and now I played bishop c6. I could also play rook c6 a little bit,
Yeah.
to be sure. But even here, he loses at least a piece, because now he has to take in c6. I take with
He
the
resigned.
rook.
He
Well,
resigned
he
here.
resigned, but why? He loses immediately, I want to say, no? He has to take in c6, rook takes c6, rook a4. And after rook a4, rook c4. Rook c4, and he resigned. Because if you take in a7, you lose the knight with check, and piece up for nothing,
Yes.
Okay. So, very good game, but everything was forced. I won the game very nicely, but to tell the truth, everything was decided at home. It was home
for you.
analysis. Yeah. So,
Good preparation.
good preparation, very high level like this, very instructive. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're welcome.